Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing the Watermelon Sugar Anaerobic Processed Colombia from DOC Coffee Roasters. And there's the bag right there. And again, I believe it's DOC or DAC, or it might be DAK. They're a coffee roaster based out of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. My first time ever trying or reviewing them was a couple of weeks ago when I reviewed their El Diviso Wash Processed Colombia, which I enjoyed that cup of coffee, but I thought it was a little bit more on the tame side. So I wanted to go back and try something on the more wild side. I was lucky enough to snag the last bag of this watermelon sugar, and calling it a little bit more wild is a massive understatement. I'm looking very much forward to discussing this coffee because it was very different from the first one. Let me get some details out of the way real quick. I do not have a recipe for this coffee because the way I enjoyed this coffee the best was through the automatic coffee maker. As far as the roast profile goes, this coffee is visually darker than a lot of the other European coffees I'm used to drinking. It definitely does have a little bit of a darker tasting components to it. And I think it does have to do with the fact that this is what they label on the bag, a 200-hour anaerobic fermentation processed Colombia. So we're going to call this a European medium roast for the roast profile. With that out of the way, let's start discussing this coffee. This right here is day 26. All right, day 13, of course, is brewed through the Chemex, as I brew all my coffees through the Chemex first time around. Very red fruit forward, what I would describe as kind of a red seed raspberry, and then some cherry, very strong, lasting finish. Definitely left a very notable first impression. Super vibrant coffee. Day 16, again, very cherry, strawberry, wine forward is the way I describe it. Very fermented, very alcoholic tasting, very red fruit forward tasting. Those three things, alcoholic, fermented, red fruit, that's this coffee in a nutshell. Day 18, still very intense, very wine-like coffee. This is probably the most similar to a cup of or a glass of wine in terms of a coffee I've ever had. And I wasn't enjoying this coffee because I'm not a big wine person. So day 20, I decided to put it through the automatic coffee maker, and it neutralized a little bit of the intensity, which was very important for me. It made it notably less alcoholic, notably less acidic, and it did bring out a little bit more of the watermelon flavor, which I had not gotten up to this point. Day 22, again through the automatic coffee maker, the intensity diluted a little bit and still a little bit more watermelon-like than it had been before. That being said, the cherry strawberry wine was definitely still the most prominent thing. Definitely is even now, and I'm drinking it through the automatic coffee maker again today. On day 24, I tried it through the Chemex one more time just to see if maybe something had changed. Definitely still the same, definitely an overly strong fermented taste with this cherry strawberry wine and what I would kind of describe as this olive. Now, let me say this about this coffee. This coffee very much smells like the way it tastes. When you're grinding this coffee, you're just smelling the bag of beans. That's the way this coffee tastes. It's this super strong fermented, acidic, wine-like coffee, and it does have this kind of olive taste to it, which I've been getting throughout this bag of coffee. All right, let me go ahead and put up the tasting wheel so you can see what I was getting. And of course, the thing that's going to jump out is that savoriness. This is the highest savoriness I've ever had for any cup of coffee. I'm looking at this wheel, and I know that the acidity could have been level 5. This is probably the most acidic cup of coffee I've ever had. The lingering finish could have been a level 5 as well. The berry fruit could have been a level 5. Since I was drinking this most through the automatic coffee maker, I decided let's just leave these things at level 4 because even though they could all be at level 5 for the most part, let's just keep them at level 4. Other things, definitely not the cleanest cup of coffee, lighter bodied cup of coffee, not over chocolatey. Didn't get any sort of additional fruits aside from those red fruits. And yeah, I think for the most part I'm pretty happy with the way that this tasting wheel looks, as I think this is best through the automatic coffee maker. So let me add my final thoughts and impressions of this coffee. I've made it very clear that I'm struggling with these anaerobic coffees. I'm not enjoying the overly strong fermented cherry flavor that comes in a lot of these. And this one took that flavor that I hadn't been enjoying to an even more intense and next level that just wasn't my taste. And I don't want to knock DOC for this because I did enjoy their first coffee, and while this coffee was so different, I definitely can say this is probably one of the least favorite coffees I've reviewed over the course of this year. It's just not my personal taste. The type of person I would suggest this coffee to is somebody that does enjoy some, well, definitely your wine drinkers. I think if you're a big wine drinker and a coffee drinker, This is great for you. It's definitely got some very intense wine-like components to it, very similar to a glass of wine, and I'm just not a wine person, I guess. And I never figured out the watermelon components to this coffee, so I'll pin this on myself for whatever reason. At no point would I ever say that I consider this like a very watermelon or watermelon sugar-like coffee. I've been drinking a couple of coffees recently that had some great watermelon tastes and components to it, so I think I just missed the mark on this one. That being said, I'll leave it at that. If you've tried this coffee, I would definitely love to know your thoughts on this one, because this one is, yeah, I'll say easily top 3 most wild and intense cups of coffee I've ever reviewed on this channel. If you've tried DAC, please let me know, or DOC, please let me know your opinions of them as well. If you're enjoying the content, give this video a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. This right here has been a review of the watermelon sugar, the anaerobic processed Colombia from DOC Coffee Roasters. Thank you for watching.